"I'm willing to help you, Olivia," I said, my voice smooth, devoid of emotion. "But not in the way you expect." Her eyes widened, a flicker of confusion crossing her face. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice hesitant. "I'm not going to be your investor," I explained, my voice firm. "I'm going to be your buyer." "Buyer?" she echoed, her voice rising in indignation. "You want to buy my boutique? For how much?" My offer was insulting, deliberately so, but Olivia was in no position to bargain. Her pride was a luxury she could no longer afford. I named a figure, a ridiculously low sum that was barely a fraction of the boutique's actual worth. Olivia gasped, her face flushed with anger. "Are you insane?" she exclaimed, her voice trembling with rage. "That's an insult. My boutique is worth 10 times that." "Perhaps it was," I countered, my voice calm, unperturbed by her outburst. "But not anymore. Not with your dwindling clientele, your disgruntled suppliers, and your mounting debts." She stared at me, her eyes blazing with defiance, but I could see the fear lurking beneath the surface, the desperation gnawing at her pride. "You're taking advantage of me," she accused, her voice laced with bitterness. "I'm offering you a lifeline, Olivia," I corrected, my voice hardening. "A way out of this mess you've created. Take it or leave it." I was replaying the memory in my head, the day that changed everything. A year ago when I made the dumbest decision of my life. The Mustang gleamed under the harsh fluorescent lights of the used car lot, its cherry red paint a defiant splash of color against the drab surroundings. I ran a hand over the smooth hood, the metal warm beneath my touch, a familiar comfort. My baby, a vintage Mustang I'd restored myself, was more than just a car. It was freedom, a symbol of my hard work. But Olivia's dream, her passion, felt more important. Or so I thought. "She's a beauty," the salesman remarked, his voice a practiced blend of admiration and salesmanship. "You sure you want to let her go?" I hesitated, a pang of regret twisting in my gut. This car, this symbol of my independence, my hard-won freedom, was about to become a stepping stone for Olivia's ambition. "I'm sure," I replied, my voice firm, though a tremor of doubt echoed in my heart. The salesman, sensing my hesitation, launched into a well-rehearsed spiel about market value, classic appeal, and the potential for future appreciation. But his words were just background noise to the internal monologue playing out in my head. "It's just a car, Daniel," I told myself. "A material possession. Olivia's dream, her happiness, is worth more than any hunk of metal." But the Mustang was more than just a hunk of metal. It was the culmination of years of saving, of sacrificing frivolous expenses for the long-term goal of owning this classic beauty. It was the open road, the wind in my hair, the feeling of escape, of possibility. It was a symbol of my hard work, my dedication, my ability to turn a rusty relic into a gleaming masterpiece. And now I was giving it all up for Olivia. "It's not a sacrifice," she had said, her eyes shining with gratitude, her hand resting gently on mine. "It's an investment, in me, in our future." Her words echoed in my mind, a soothing balm to the nagging doubts. I loved Olivia, her passion, her drive, her unwavering belief in her dreams. And if selling my car meant helping her achieve those dreams, then it was a price I was willing to pay. Or so I thought. The transaction was swift, the paperwork a blur of signatures and legalese. As I handed over the keys, a wave of sadness washed over me, a sense of loss that went beyond the material value of the car. It was as if I was handing over a part of myself, a piece of my identity, my freedom. But I pushed the doubts aside, focusing on Olivia's radiant smile, the gratitude in her eyes, the promise of a future where her dreams would become our reality. I had made a sacrifice, a grand gesture of love and support, and in that moment it felt worth it. Little did I know that the true cost of my sacrifice would be far greater than the monetary value of a vintage Mustang. It would be the cost of my trust, my loyalty, my belief in the woman I loved. Olivia, with her vibrant energy and boundless creativity, was a force of nature. She had a vision, a dream of transforming the fashion landscape, one stylish outfit at a time. Her dream, however, was more of a fragile seedling than a blossoming enterprise. It lacked the one crucial ingredient: capital. I, Daniel Cruz, ever the pragmatist with a soft spot for Olivia's infectious enthusiasm, saw the potential in her vision. She had the talent, the drive, the entrepreneurial spirit that screamed success. What she lacked were the funds to translate her sketches and mood boards into a tangible reality. Our relationship wasn't built on extravagant gestures or grand pronouncements. It was the quiet moments, the shared laughter over bad movies, the comfortable silences over steaming mugs of coffee, the unwavering support in the face of life's inevitable curveballs. So, when Olivia confided in me about her dream, her voice laced with a yearning that mirrored the longing in my own heart, I knew I had to do something. "It's not just about the clothes, Daniel," she'd explained, her eyes sparkling with passion. "It's about empowering women, helping them find their own style, their own confidence." Her words resonated with me, her vision aligning with my own belief in the transformative power of self-expression. I saw the boutique not just as a business venture, but as a platform for Olivia to share her talent, to inspire others, to make a difference in the world, one stylish outfit at a time. And so I made a decision that would change the course of our lives, a decision that, in hindsight, was perhaps fueled more by love-struck naivety than sound financial judgment. I decided to be Olivia's investor, her silent partner, the wind beneath her wings. Olivia's boutique, Olivia's oasis, was a testament to her unique vision. Nestled in a trendy part of town, its window display was a constantly evolving masterpiece of color and texture, drawing curious glances and eager shoppers. Inside, the space was a haven of style, with carefully curated racks of clothing, handcrafted jewelry, and unique accessories that reflected Olivia's eclectic taste. The boutique was a hit. Olivia was thriving, her creativity finally unleashed. I was happy for her, genuinely happy. My car was a distant memory, a small price to pay for her success. Word of mouth spread like wildfire, fueled by social media buzz and glowing reviews in local publications. Olivia, with her natural charm and infectious enthusiasm, was the perfect ambassador for her brand, building a loyal clientele who appreciated her personalized approach and unique offerings. I watched her flourish, my heart swelling with pride. The long hours she poured into the business, the meticulous attention to detail, the genuine passion she exuded, it was all paying off. The boutique was more than just a shop. It was a reflection of Olivia's personality, her creativity, her dream made manifest. "You're a natural, you know," I remarked one evening as we were closing up, the last customer having just left with a satisfied smile and a bag full of treasures. Olivia, her face flushed with the day's success, beamed at me. "You really think so?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with gratitude. "I know so," I replied, squeezing her hand. "This place is amazing. You're amazing." She leaned in, kissing me softly. "Thank you, Daniel," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "Thank you for believing in me." "Always," I murmured, my heart overflowing with love and admiration. The signs were subtle at first, like hairline cracks in a seemingly solid foundation. Olivia, once eager to share every detail of her day, became more distant, her phone glued to her hand, her conversations filled with whispered calls and vague excuses. The late nights at the boutique became more frequent, her explanations about inventory and supplier meetings a little too rehearsed. Then came the change in her demeanor. The designer labels she started sporting, the expensive dinners she'd casually mention, the subtle hints about a new friend who understood her ambition. The final blow came on a Friday evening, a time we usually reserved for takeout and bad movies. Olivia, dressed in a sleek dress that screamed expensive, sat across from me, her eyes avoiding mine, her fingers nervously tracing the rim of her wineglass. "Daniel," she began, her voice hesitant, "we need to talk." My stomach clenched, a premonition of impending doom settling over me. "Okay," I said, my voice carefully neutral. What's up? She took a deep breath, her eyes finally meeting mine, but the warmth I was used to seeing was replaced by a cold, calculated glint. I've been doing a lot of thinking, she said, her voice carefully measured, and I've realized that we're just different now. The "we're just different now" line was a classic, a well-rehearsed script designed to soften the blow, but the "I need someone who can keep up with me financially" addendum? That was a punch to the gut, delivered with a smile. Different? I echoed, my voice betraying a hint of the confusion and hurt that were swirling within me. Different how? You know, she said, her voice vague, her eyes flitting around the room, avoiding my gaze. I'm ambitious. I have goals. I need someone who can support me, who can keep up with me. Support you? I repeated, my voice rising. Olivia, I sold my car to help you start your business. I've been nothing but supportive. I know, she said, her voice softening, a hint of remorse flickering in her eyes. And I appreciate that. I really do, but it's not just about the money, Daniel. It's about lifestyle, connections, ambition. Ambition? I scoffed, the anger finally breaking through the facade of composure. So my ambition isn't good enough for you anymore? My support, my loyalty, my love, none of that matters because I don't drive a fancy car or have a trust fund. She flinched at my words, her carefully constructed composure cracking. It's not like that, she protested, her voice weak. Then what is it like, Olivia? I demanded, my voice filled with a mixture of pain and anger. Tell me, what kind of ambition does this new friend of yours have? The kind that comes with a platinum credit card and a penthouse apartment? She looked away, unable to meet my gaze, the truth of my words hanging heavy in the air between us. She had traded my loyalty and sacrifice for the shallow allure of wealth and status, my love for the promise of a more luxurious lifestyle. And as I looked at her, the woman I had loved, the woman I had sacrificed for, the woman who had so carelessly discarded me, I felt a wave of disillusionment wash over me, a bitter realization that the dream I had helped build had become a gilded cage, trapping her in a world of superficiality and greed. The anger, the hurt, the overwhelming sense of betrayal. They were all there, churning within me like a storm at sea. But I kept it all bottled up, my expression a mask of calm indifference, my voice a steady monotone. Olivia, expecting a dramatic outburst, a desperate plea for reconciliation, was clearly thrown off by my composure. I didn't yell, I didn't beg, I just listened, my mind already calculating the next move. Olivia had underestimated me. She mistook my loyalty for weakness. A fatal mistake. So, I said, my voice deceptively calm. That's it then? We're done? She nodded, her eyes filled with a mixture of relief and a flicker of something that looked suspiciously like guilt. I'm sorry, Daniel, she mumbled, the words sounding hollow even to her own ears. But I think it's for the best. For the best? I echoed, a hint of bitterness creeping into my voice. For your best, you mean. She flinched at my words, but quickly recovered her composure. I need to focus on my career, she said, her voice firm, her eyes hardening. I need to be with someone who understands my ambition, who can support me, who can keep up. I nodded slowly, my mind already racing, the gears of a plan starting to turn. Olivia, in her relentless pursuit of wealth and status, had made a crucial miscalculation. She had underestimated me. She had mistaken my loyalty for weakness, my quiet support for blind devotion. And she was about to learn a valuable lesson. I wouldn't waste my energy on anger or recriminations. I wouldn't beg or plead for her to reconsider. Instead, I would channel my emotions into something more productive, something more satisfying. Revenge. The seed of an idea had been planted. A plan taking root in the fertile ground of my wounded pride. It wouldn't be a rash act of vengeance, a petty display of anger. No, this would be a carefully calculated campaign, a slow burn designed to dismantle the very foundation of Olivia's ambition, the empire she had built on the ashes of my sacrifice. I would use her own weapons against her own ambition, her own greed, her own insatiable desire for wealth and status. I would turn the tables, expose her hypocrisy, and ultimately reclaim what was rightfully mine. As Olivia gathered her things, her designer handbag clutched tightly in her manicured hand, I watched her with a quiet determination, a subtle smirk playing on my lips. She had no idea what was coming, no inkling of the storm that was brewing on the horizon. And as she walked out the door, her heels clicking a defiant rhythm against the hardwood floor, I whispered a silent promise to myself, a vow of retribution that would echo through the corridors of her ambition, a whisper that would soon turn into a roar. The game, Olivia, had just begun. My first move was strategic, a calculated play that would set the stage for my elaborate plan. I found a prime location, a vacant storefront directly across the street from Olivia's oasis. The space was perfect, bright, airy, with large windows that offered a clear view of Olivia's bustling boutique. Location, location, location. Right across from Olivia's, a prime spot. And the name? Cruz Couture. A little on the nose, perhaps, but I wanted her to get the message. I poured my remaining savings, supplemented by a small business loan. Thankfully, my credit score was still impeccable, into transforming the space. I hired a talented interior designer, someone with a keen eye for detail and a knack for creating an atmosphere that was both inviting and subtly intimidating. The decor was sleek and modern, with clean lines and bold accents, a stark contrast to Olivia's more eclectic bohemian style. The name, of course, was the centerpiece of my strategy. Cruz Couture. A bold declaration, a subtle jab at Olivia's ego, a clear indication that I was not just a competitor, but a force to be reckoned with. The signage was sleek and minimalist, the letters Cruz in a bold, masculine font, a stark contrast to the delicate script of Olivia's oasis. I stocked the boutique with carefully curated pieces, focusing on quality, exclusivity, and a timeless elegance that transcended fleeting trends. I sought out up-and-coming designers, offering them a platform to showcase their talent, a partnership that would benefit both parties. I also forged relationships with established brands, securing exclusive deals that would give my boutique an edge over the competition. The opening night was a carefully orchestrated affair, a subtle display of power and influence. I invited key figures in the fashion industry, local influencers, and even a few of Olivia's most loyal customers. The champagne flowed freely, the canapés were exquisite, and the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and anticipation. Olivia, alerted by the buzz across the street, watched from her own boutique, her face a mask of disbelief and dawning apprehension. She saw the crowds gathering, the flash of cameras, the air of exclusivity that surrounded my event. And as the doors of Cruz Couture swung open, revealing the sleek interior, the carefully curated collection, and the confident smirk on my face, she knew that the game had begun. I had planted the seed of doubt, the first crack in her carefully constructed facade. She had underestimated me, dismissed me as a lovesick fool who would wallow in self-pity. But I was not a man to be trifled with. I was Daniel Cruz, and I was here to stay. My next move was a calculated strike at the heart of Olivia's operation, her staff. I knew that Olivia, in her haste to build her empire, had neglected the very people who were instrumental to her success. Her employees, talented and dedicated, were overworked, underpaid, and undervalued. Loyalty is a fickle thing, especially when you're being offered double the salary and a chance to work for someone who actually appreciates your talent. Olivia's staff was surprisingly easy to persuade. I approached them discreetly, one by one, offering them not just better pay and benefits, but also a chance to grow, to learn, to be part of a team that valued their contributions. I appealed to their ambition, their desire for recognition, their need for a work environment that fostered creativity and innovation. "Sophia," I said to her lead stylist, a woman with an impeccable eye for fashion and a knack for making every customer feel like a celebrity. I've been impressed with your work. You have a gift, a true talent for bringing out the best in people. Sophia, flattered by my genuine admiration, blushed slightly. Thank you, Mr. Cruz, she replied, her voice hesitant. Call me Daniel, I said, offering her a warm smile. And I'm not just offering compliments, Sophia. I'm offering you an opportunity. I laid out my proposal, detailing the benefits, the creative freedom, the chance to be part of a growing brand that valued her talent. Her eyes widened as I mentioned the salary, a figure that was significantly higher than what Olivia was paying her. I don't know what to say, she stammered, her voice filled with surprise and a hint of apprehension. Say yes, I said, my voice confident, reassuring. Join my team, Sophia. Help me build something extraordinary. She hesitated for a moment, her loyalty to Olivia battling with her own ambition and the lure of a better opportunity. But in the end, the decision was clear. Yes, she said, her voice firm, her eyes shining with newfound determination. I'd love to. One by one, Olivia's best employees followed suit, drawn to the promise of a better future, a workplace where their talents were recognized and rewarded. Even her most trusted suppliers, lured by the promise of prompt payments and lucrative contracts, switched their allegiance, leaving Olivia with a dwindling workforce and a shrinking inventory. With my team in place and my inventory stocked, it was time to launch my attack on Olivia's customer base. I knew that Olivia, blinded by her own ambition, had lost sight of the core values that had initially attracted her clientele: quality, style, and value. She had become complacent, her prices inflated, her designs becoming increasingly generic, her customer service slipping into a perfunctory routine. Olivia's customers were like sheep, easily swayed by a shiny new shepherd. My marketing campaign was subtle but effective. Quality, style, value. 3 words that Olivia seemed to have forgotten. I, on the other hand, understood the importance of exceeding expectations. I offered personalized styling sessions, exclusive discounts for loyal customers, and a curated selection of unique pieces that couldn't be found anywhere else. I invested in a social media campaign that showcased not just the clothes, but the stories behind them, the designers, the artisans, the inspiration that fueled each creation. My marketing strategy was a subtle jab at Olivia's complacency. Cruz Couture, quality, style, value, 3 simple words, yet they spoke volumes about the difference between our approaches. Olivia, focused on maximizing profits, had forgotten the essence of her brand, the values that had initially attracted her customers. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Customers, lured by the promise of better deals, more innovative designs, and superior customer service, flocked to Cruz Couture, their curiosity piqued by the new kid on the block who dared to challenge the established order. I can't believe I'm saying this, one of Olivia's former regulars remarked to her friend as they browsed through my collection. But this place is actually better than Olivia's. The clothes are amazing, the prices are reasonable, and the staff is so helpful. I know, right? Her friend agreed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. And did you see that amazing jacket? I've been looking for something like that for ages. Word of mouth spread like wildfire, fueled by social media posts and glowing reviews. Olivia's once loyal customers were now singing the praises of Cruz Couture, their Instagram feeds filled with photos of their latest purchases, their hashtags a testament to my growing success. Olivia, watching the exodus from her own boutique, felt a growing sense of panic. Her sales were plummeting, her customers were defecting, and her carefully crafted image was starting to crack. She had underestimated me, dismissed me as a heartbroken ex who would fade into the background. But I had proven her wrong. I had studied her game, learned from her mistakes, and created a boutique that was everything hers wasn't: customer-centric, innovative, and value-driven. The battle had begun, and I was winning. The whispers started reaching me. Olivia's boutique was struggling. Her sales were down, her suppliers were demanding payment, and her rich guy was nowhere to be seen. The pressure was mounting. Heard Olivia's having a tough time? A fellow boutique owner remarked casually during a networking event. Seems like her customers are flocking to Cruise Couture. Yeah, a supplier confided, his voice lowered conspiratorially. She's been delaying payments. Says she's waiting for a big investor to come through. Her rich guy not so rich after all? I asked, feigning ignorance. The supplier chuckled. Seems like he's more interested in the high life than investing in a struggling boutique. I nodded, a subtle smirk playing on my lips. The pressure was mounting on Olivia, and I intended to turn the screws a little tighter. I launched a series of limited edition collections, collaborations with exclusive designers that created a buzz in the fashion world. I hosted trunk shows, private viewings, and VIP events that attracted the city's elite, further solidifying Cruise Couture's position as the go-to destination for discerning shoppers. Olivia, desperate to keep up, tried to replicate my strategies, but her efforts were hampered by her dwindling resources and her tarnished reputation. Her attempts to secure exclusive collaborations were met with polite rejections, her suppliers demanding upfront payments, her investors hesitant to back a sinking ship. "We can't give you another extension, Olivia," her fabric supplier informed her, his voice firm but apologetic. "We need payment by the end of the week, or we'll be forced to take legal action." "But I have a new collection coming out," Olivia pleaded, her voice laced with desperation. "It's going to be huge. I just need a little more time." "We've heard that before, Olivia," the supplier replied, his voice hardening. "We need to see results, not promises." Olivia hung up the phone, her hands trembling, her face pale. She was trapped in a vicious cycle, her desperation fueling her poor decisions exacerbating her financial woes. The walls were closing in, and she had nowhere to turn, except, perhaps, to the man she had so carelessly discarded. The air in my office was thick with the scent of expensive cologne and desperation. Olivia, dressed in a designer suit that seemed to hang a little looser than usual, sat across from me, her carefully manicured nails digging into the leather of her handbag. "Daniel," she began, her voice a strained whisper, "I need your help." The irony was almost too much to bear. Olivia, the woman who had dumped me for a man with a thicker wallet, was now pleading for my financial assistance. The woman who had dismissed my dreams and ambitions was now seeking my investment to salvage her own. "My help?" I echoed, my voice carefully neutral, my expression betraying nothing of the satisfaction that was bubbling within me. "I wasn't aware that you valued my opinion, let alone my financial resources." She flinched at my words, her carefully constructed facade cracking under the weight of her desperation. I made a mistake," she stammered, her eyes pleading for understanding. "I was foolish, short-sighted. I didn't appreciate what I had." "What you had?" I repeated, my voice laced with a hint of bitterness. "A loyal boyfriend who sacrificed his own dreams to support yours? A man who loved you unconditionally, despite your flaws, your ambition, your greed?" She looked away, unable to meet my gaze, the truth of my words burning like acid. "I know," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I know I messed up. But I'm begging you, Daniel, please, help me, save my business." "Save your business?" I scoffed, my voice rising. "The business you built on the back of my sacrifice? The business that you used as a stepping stone to climb the social ladder, leaving me behind in the dust?" She looked up at me, her eyes filled with tears, her face a mask of regret. "I know I don't deserve your help," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "But I'm desperate, Daniel. I'm losing everything. Please, don't let me fail." I studied her for a moment, my gaze unwavering, my mind racing. This was the moment I had been waiting for, the culmination of months of planning, of calculated revenge. Olivia, the woman who had discarded me for my lack of wealth, was now at my mercy, begging for my financial assistance. The power dynamic had shifted, the tables had turned, and I, Daniel Cruz, the man she had underestimated, the man she had betrayed, was now in control. I leaned back in my chair, my fingers steepled, a predatory glint in my eyes. Olivia, her hopes hanging by a thread, watched me with bated breath, her desperation palpable. "I'm willing to help you, Olivia," I said, my voice smooth, devoid of emotion. "But not in the way you expect." Her eyes widened, a flicker of confusion crossing her face. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice hesitant. "I'm not going to be your investor," I explained, my voice firm. "I'm going to be your buyer." "Buyer?" she echoed, her voice rising in indignation. "You want to buy my boutique? For how much?" My offer was insulting, deliberately so. But Olivia was in no position to bargain. Her pride was a luxury she could no longer afford. I named a figure, a ridiculously low sum that was barely a fraction of the boutique's actual worth. Olivia gasped, her face flushed with anger. "Are you insane?" she exclaimed, her voice trembling with rage. "That's an insult. My boutique is worth 10 times that." "Perhaps it was," I countered, my voice calm, unperturbed by her outburst. "But not anymore. Not with your dwindling clientele, your disgruntled suppliers, and your mounting debts." She stared at me, her eyes blazing with defiance. But I could see the fear lurking beneath the surface, the desperation gnawing at her pride. "You're taking advantage of me," she accused, her voice laced with bitterness. "I'm offering you a lifeline, Olivia," I corrected, my voice hardening. "A way out of this mess you've created. Take it or leave it." She looked away, her gaze fixed on the cityscape outside my window, the bustling streets a stark contrast to the turmoil within her. She knew I was right. Her options were limited, her pride a luxury she could no longer afford. "Fine," she said finally, her voice barely a whisper, the defeat evident in her tone. "I accept your offer." A slow smile spread across my face, a predator savoring the taste of victory. Olivia, the woman who had discarded me for my lack of wealth, had just sold me her dream, her passion, her pride, for a pittance. The tables had turned, the power dynamic irrevocably shifted. And I, Daniel Cruz, the man she had underestimated, the man she had betrayed, was now the owner of her empire. The conference room was sterile, the air heavy with the scent of stale coffee and impending doom. Olivia sat across from me, her lawyer flanking her, his expression a mix of concern and professional detachment. My own lawyer, a seasoned veteran with a shark-like grin, sat beside me. The contract spread out between us like a battlefield. The signing was a formality. Olivia, her face pale, her hands trembling, signed the documents without even reading them. She was too desperate, too broken, to care about the details. The legalese was a blur to Olivia, the clauses and subclauses a meaningless jumble of words. Her eyes, red-rimmed and devoid of their usual sparkle, darted across the pages, but her mind was elsewhere, trapped in a whirlwind of regret and despair. She had built this business from the ground up, poured her heart and soul into every detail, every design, every customer interaction. And now she was signing it all away, handing over the reins to the man she had betrayed, the man she had underestimated, the man who was now savoring the sweet taste of revenge. Her lawyer, sensing her distress, cleared his throat. "Olivia," he said, his voice gentle but firm, "perhaps you should take some time to review the documents before signing." She looked up at him, her eyes filled with a mixture of defiance and despair. "What does it matter?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. "It's all over anyway." She picked up the pen, her hand trembling as she signed her name on the dotted line, each stroke a final nail in the coffin of her dream. The lawyer, his face etched with concern, watched her, but he knew there was nothing he could do. Olivia had made her choice, a choice driven by desperation and fueled by regret. I watched her, my expression impassive, my heart a cold, hard stone in my chest. There was no joy in this victory, no sense of triumph, only a hollow ache, a reminder of the love we had lost, the trust we had broken, the dreams we had shattered. As Olivia and her lawyer left the conference room, their footsteps echoing in the sterile silence, I picked up the contract, my name now emblazoned on the ownership documents, a testament to my calculated revenge. The boutique, once a symbol of Olivia's ambition, was now mine, a trophy of war, a reminder of the bitter battle we had fought, the casualties we had both suffered. But even as I savored the victory, a part of me mourned the loss, the love that had turned to ashes, the dream that had turned into a nightmare. The schadenfreude was almost unbearable. News of Olivia's downfall spread through the city's social circles like wildfire. Her rich guy, the one she had so readily traded me for, proved to be as fickle as her own ambitions. "Darling," he drawled, his voice dripping with condescension. "A woman who can't even manage her own finances is hardly the trophy girlfriend I envisioned." Olivia, stripped of her designer labels and her social status, was discarded like yesterday's news, her phone calls unanswered, her invitations revoked. The same people who had flocked to her during her rise to success now shunned her, their loyalty as fleeting as the trends she had once championed. Even her closest friends, the ones she had confided in, the ones who had witnessed her ruthless climb to the top, now gravitated towards me, drawn to the power and influence that came with owning Cruise Couture. "Daniel, darling," one of her former confidants gushed, her voice dripping with faux sincerity, "you're an absolute marvel. That collection was simply divine." I accepted the compliment with a gracious nod, a subtle smirk playing on my lips. Olivia, watching from the sidelines, her eyes filled with a mixture of envy and regret, was a mere ghost of her former self, her presence as insignificant as a faded stain on a designer dress. One evening, driven by a desperate hope that I might still harbor some lingering affection, she cornered me at a charity gala, her voice trembling with a mixture of pride and desperation. "Daniel," she pleaded, her eyes searching mine for a flicker of the love she had so carelessly discarded. "Can we talk?" "I believe we've said all there is to say, Olivia," I replied, my voice cold, my gaze unwavering. "Please," she begged, her voice cracking. "I know I made a mistake, a huge mistake, but I've learned my lesson. I miss you." I looked at her, my eyes scanning the crowd that had gathered around us, their whispers fueling the flames of her humiliation. "You miss me?" I echoed, my voice laced with irony. "Or do you miss the life you had with me? The support, the loyalty, the love that you so readily traded for a fleeting taste of wealth and status?" Her face flushed with shame, her eyes welling up with tears. "I miss you, Daniel," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I miss us." "There is no us, Olivia," I said, my voice firm, final. "You made your choice, and now you have to live with the consequences." I turned away from her, my gaze sweeping across the crowd, my eyes meeting those of her former friends, their expressions a mixture of amusement and pity. Olivia, once the queen bee of their social circle, was now an outcast, a pariah, a cautionary tale of ambition and betrayal. And as I walked away, leaving her standing alone in the harsh glare of the spotlight, I felt a sense of closure, a finality that marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Olivia had learned her lesson, a painful lesson in the true meaning of loyalty, sacrifice, and love. And I, Daniel Cruz, had finally emerged from the shadows, my own ambition tempered by wisdom, my own heart guarded by the scars of betrayal.